What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Fit Over 40. I'm your host, Coach Clarence. I had a wonderful guest, Justin Groth. He is a former bodybuilder, personal trainer, coach, podcaster. He hosts a great show, Straight from the Chest, and he was straight from the chest today. I think you're going to really enjoy this interview. Let me know in the comments. Make sure you like and subscribe, and let's get it. All right, Justin, thanks for coming on the show. Welcome to Fit Over 40. I'm Coach Clarence, and of course, this is going to be another great conversation. This gentleman has quite the background, so it should be pretty interesting, and he's a fitness person, so we're going to make sure he's qualified. We're going to ask him what a calorie is or something and really push the envelope, Justin, thanks for coming on, man.
Hey,
Tell us a little bit about what's happening in your world.
just business, man, business and clients. It's like I always like to tell people it's like Groundhog Day for me every day. It's the same thing every single day. It seems like it's been that way for the last probably like 10, 11 years.
So how long have you been in fitness?
I've been in fitness seriously since 2005 when I started to get into bodybuilding.
Okay.
And I should preface for your listeners that it was natural bodybuilding. So what that means is no steroids, drug free. And I started getting into that in 2005, started to get really into it 2006, 2007, competed in 2009 and had a fair amount of shows under my belt from 2009 on. But yeah, so ever since then, I've been into fitness, man.
Mm-hmm. It's important to point out the distinction between natural and what people think, because a lot of times when they hear bodybuilding, they think of the big guys and gals on this stage, the big boys. When did you decide that fitness was something you were really into? Like, was it an offshoot of the bodybuilding, or were you doing it before bodybuilding?
I really just kind of came into it because in high school, I had I didn't have a body at all. And I got to a point where I got really skinny. And I think I was battling some identity issues, to be honest with you. And I just didn't know where I was. I didn't know. I wanted to look better, obviously, but at the same time, I didn't know how to go about it. And so I wanted a body. Like I remember at that point, Abercrombie was really big, Abercrombie and Fitch.
Yeah.
And so I would see those guys plastered all over the store. And I remember thinking, man, I just want a body like that. But I didn't know how to attain it. Like I didn't know what it looked like getting it. And so I just thought, well, they're skinnier than I am. So I have to just get skinnier. And so I started doing a lot of cardio. I rode my skateboard a lot. I walked, I ran, and I ate less. I ate like one big meal a day, and that big meal was only a sandwich and some chips. And throughout the rest of the day, I was staving my hunger off with Diet Coke and vegetables. So I got to a point where I looked okay. And then after that, it dipped below and I started looking like shit. And I was looking very, very anorexic because I was clinically anorexic. My lowest point, I was like 136. And to give your audience some context, I'm a 5'11" individual. So my normal body weight should be around 170-ish, roughly. And that's what I was in high school. But, so through trial and error, I came into bodybuilding, really.
Gotcha. All right. Speaking of that, we get a lot of guys who will ask questions. How do I get big naturally? What are some tips for a person who wants to put size on naturally without going the other route?
Yeah, so it's really a progressive overload situation. That person has to continuously progress in their lifts, predicate their entire fitness regimen on the compound movements. So essentially, when I say compound, movements that require lots of muscles in concert with one another or to work in concert. So essentially that would look like something like a squat, a deadlift, a bench press, a chin up, bent over barbell row, things of that nature that require lots of muscles to work in unison to create the force production. So doing that, predicating your regimen on very sound compound movements and progressing in those, overloading the parameters of those. Now you can overload in multiple ways. You can do it with more repetitions, you can add more weight, you can train that muscle more frequently, you can take smaller rest periods between your sets, whatever, but just make sure that you're progressing in those lifts, making them more intense. So that's what we mean by when we say progressively overloading, or making that movement more intense via weight, less rest, more repetitions, etc. And then obviously you want to eat a very protein-rich diet, stay away from lots of processed foods, all the same rhetoric that you hear from every fitness pro out there. It's not changed, and it's not going to change. So on top of that, if you want to get into supplementation, things that I recommend are going to be the basics: creatine monohydrate, maybe a pre-workout before you go in the gym to kind of get you amped up a little bit, a whey protein, a good solid whey protein, micronutrients, zinc, magnesium, vitamin D3. People are very deficient in vitamin D3. And really, maybe a really good quality omega-3, omega-3, 6 and 9, omega fatty acid. But other than that, man, hard work and lots of years of doing this consistently.
Yes. I think when I started lifting weights like you, I was probably a little bit heavier, same height, 5'11". I was 155 my senior year in high school. Now, I think at the biggest, I was at 300 pounds. I got to, I was just getting after it over the years. Now I'm 53, so that's way too heavy, So now my training is just, I'm in the gym, hoping nothing breaks, hoping nothing hurts, keeping my joints lubricated, One thing that's really important for our listeners, I always say when pros come on, there's two things you're going to hear. You're going to hear a lot about mindset. You're going to hear a lot about consistency, and then eating. I think people want to hear this great magic exercise. And like you said, nothing's going to change. I mean, they may have a new variation of how to do something, but it's all the same stuff at the end of the day. So how much focus in your coaching do you talk about nutrition?
So I've learned throughout the years of training people, and by the way, that's been about 15, 16 years going on now, that a lot of people just don't want nutrition advice. And if they want it, they ask for it. So if a person is lending their conversation towards the avenue of transformation, well, then it's probably safe to say that nutrition, they understand that nutrition is going to be a prerequisite. And I'm going to talk about that. But if I get somebody coming to me that's a lot older in age, and this happens quite frequently, a lot older in age, they're not out of shape, but they're not in shape. They're kind of maybe bordering 20 pounds overweight. If they were to be, like assessed their BMI, they probably about 20 pounds overweight or so. And they just want to move, I guess. They just want to move. They want to strength train, and they don't want any of the nutritional prison that I might put them in, even though I joke with that by saying that, but it wouldn't be that, but that's how they look at it. People look at anything people look at anything that sort of looks like a diet as being in prison, and they have no freedom to their foods, and they're starving, and something that is just going to have a short expiration date on it. Essentially. I don't make diets like that. I make a lifestyle model that person can adhere to when it comes to nutrition. And that looks different for everybody, but that's really only if they're asking for it, because most people don't ask for it, and they don't, and it's because they don't really want to take their body to that next level. But those that are looking to transform, well, then that's kind of a prerequisite, and that comes in the conversation.
Gotcha. Who do you train more, men or women?
Women.
Women? Okay.
Yeah, hands down, women.
Okay. When you set out, was that a goal, or did that just kind of fall into your lap?
Yeah, I thought I was going to train my buddies being a personal trainer. And that's the advice that I have for every personal trainer that's going to start in the industry. Don't think that your buddies are going to pay you to work out with you. It's not going to happen. Yep. They may say like, yeah, that doesn't happen. It never happens. You'll never monetize from your friends. You won't even monetize from guys that are doing bodybuilding type workouts. even if you are the best bodybuilder in your city, they're not going to buy from you. And a lot of that, I think, is centered around ego. A man doesn't want to have another man train him. It looks like it almost looks subjugating for that other man. So they won't put themselves in that position with another male trainer. And they're definitely not going to do it with a female trainer. So just get your eyes off of bodybuilders. You're not going to train your buddies. It's not going to happen. Your market is the 30 to 60-year-old sedentary person, or just one that wants to maintain a healthy lifestyle, be physically fit, be able to run with their kids, and do normal shit.
Yeah.
But be strong in the process.
Yeah, that's kind of my crowd. Like, it's fit over 40. So I mean, I have 90% women, 10% men, and generally they start feeling bad because their wives or girlfriend are looking better. Then they say, "Hey, man, I gotta figure something out." So yeah. So you mentioned, we talked early, you got a fitness app. Talk about that. That's pretty exciting stuff.
Yeah, it's been months and months in the process of development and different iterations of it, and it's finally launched. We launched it last Thursday, and it's essentially a nutritional fitness app. It's for everybody that's starting. If you're starting from the beginning, you don't have any direction, you need structure, you need a plan in place, which everybody is really looking for that at the end of the day. We give you that. We give you a plan. We give you a workout. We give you what days to work out. We give you reps, sets, rest periods, everything. We give you water intake. We give you foods. We give you the food tracker. So if you don't want the foods that are listed in the diet plan, we give you a macronutrient list to go off of. So you just track your foods and you equate it to what macros we have you set at, carbs, fats, and protein. And then we have another section where it's the Elite Mind and Fitness, or the Elite Fit Mind section, where that's more of a comprehensive. You and I sit down, we go over your goals, not only life goals, but fitness goals. And we clear you of vices, we clear you of any bad habits or behaviors that you might be reveling in, and the time that might set you back from your fitness goals. So that's more of a comprehensive 101 plan. But I wanted to make fitness affordable for everybody, because one thing that I've witnessed very strongly in as being a personal trainer is that it's very expensive for a lot of people. And many people don't have a disposable income that allows them to set out $600, $700, $800 a month for personal trainer. And that's arguably what it costs if they want a very structured and sound plan. So that's the reason why it took so many months of development and reprogramming to develop this app, so that it wasn't a cookie cutter plan. It was something that could be a lot more subjective to the person and a lot more honed in on that person's goals. And we made it very, very affordable, because I want to reach the hands of everybody. I wanted to put me in everybody's pocket. And so that's what we did. And the starter plan is $14.99 a month. And the Elite Fit and Mind plan is $89 a month. Wow. And that's where you get a video coaching call with me once a month. We go over your plan. We go over your life goals. We go over your fitness goals. Obviously, we devise a custom nutrition plan, a custom workout plan, something that you can adhere to, something that you like. And so it's been very successful thus far. And we've got a lot of good feedback on it. So we're just stoked, we're really happy about that.
What made you get into the online space? Or do you still train in person?
I still train personally, but I'm moving online, because that's the only way you scale as a personal trainer. And you find that out real quick. I can only put so much of me in my time every single day. And there's a cap on how many people that I can actually get to every single day. Yeah. So there has to be another way to reach more people. And the online space is the only way to really do it. I mean, I don't know of any other space. So that's why I had to, even though I was really against online training in the beginning, because I'm very one-on-one. I'd like to be one-on-one with people. It's very intimate. I can get more productivity out of people, and I can get more results therefore. But it's just not scalable. I can't reach as many people. So that's why I went to the online space.
So whenever I have a Fit Pro on, I always ask this question: what do you think the biggest problem is in terms of health and fitness in our country or the world? And how do you solve it with your coaching?
They don't put a priority on themselves. It's just a blanket answer. If fitness was a priority to you, so if your health and the way that you look at yourself and respect yourself by what you eat and what you do with your body, then fitness would be a massive priority to you. It would be just like your job, because you would understand that fitness transfers into multiple things in life. It's not just about being vain and developing a body. It's about developing a more disciplined mind towards doing things that don't feel good, that suck at times. But that's life. You're going to go through things in life that suck and don't feel good. So if you can willingly impose a resistance on you via workouts, via nutritional, like let's say amount of food that maybe isn't a whole lot, but it's good for you and it serves the purpose and it gets you satiated, you know, that's hard to refrain from eating more, right? Mm-hmm. But imposing that self-restraint, not only with food, but with workouts, with doing hard things in the gym, you know, taking your body towards new levels that you didn't really know existed within the realm of strength and within the realm of let's call it doing things that you wouldn't want to do that are challenging, and you overcome those challenges when you do the workout, when you complete it, when that's all said and done, you realize I'm still alive, I'm good, and if anything, I'm better now. And right. So, but this isn't a priority for people, and it's the reason why people don't put a precedence on fitness, because they think that fitness is just for guys and girls that are vain about their bodies. Girls want to build a big butt and guys want big biceps. That's not what fitness is. Fitness is a myriad of things. It's anything from kayaking to hiking to bodybuilding and everything in between. So if people respect their bodies, if they respect what God gave them, and if they want to feel and look their best and therefore operate their best, then they're going to put a precedence on fitness and put a precedence on abstaining from certain foods and abstaining from certain lifestyles, ruts that they might get in because of what their habits are, what their behaviors are. This is a person is nothing but their habits and behaviors. And on top of that, what they place a priority on. So if your priority is on drinking and smoking and partying on the weekends with your buddies, well, then that's what you're going to wait for. And that's what you're going to look forward to. But if it's something different, like working out, having a goal in mind, dropping 15 pounds, gaining 5 pounds of muscle, well, then that's what you're going to put your focus and attention on.
Love it. Love it. Very true. Very true. So you have a podcast, and I love the name, Straight from the Chest. And just from talking to you, you seem like a straight shooter. And you've got several episodes, by the way. I was like, you've got quite a bit. How long have you been podcasting?
Man, probably, well, since 2017.
Okay.
And I've done it religiously twice a week. So I want to say 2017 or 2018 is when I started getting very serious about it. And I made a promise myself, when I start this, I'm not going to waver. So no matter if I say on the days and I'm going to podcast, which is Wednesday and Sunday, it used to be Wednesday and Saturday, or I'm sorry, Wednesday and Sunday. It used to be Wednesday and Sunday. Now it's Wednesday and Saturday. I'm not going to miss a day. I don't care if it's Christmas. I don't care if it's a birthday. I'm not going to miss a day. And similar to my workouts or the way that I conduct myself with my body, it's no different. I'm going to do this no matter what. I mean, there better be a tornado hitting my entire city before I don't do a podcast. You know, and it's because I place a priority on it. It's important to me. And it's important to me to get whatever I want to get to the world out there. And so the podcast is predicated on experiences that I've had. It's a lot of it is me talking to myself, and people don't know that, but it's like there may be problems that I'm dealing with or things that I'm reflecting on or perspectives that I have that I feel are very essential for people to understand. And I want to put that out there. And so it's not like a lot of times I'm using it as a therapy tool, you know, but it presents a good message because it's something, if I know I'm going through it, there's other people that are going through the same thing, I'm sure.
So primarily, is it mainly you, or are you having guests come on and whatnot?
No, it's just me. I used to have guests, but I got a really awkward schedule, man. It's really hard for me to to set a date and stick to it, because things always come up with my life. There's other things that I'm working on the back end right now. So, and it would try to align with another person and their schedule. It was just tough, man. So
Yeah.
that's why I just do the podcast on my own, and they're very short podcasts. They're anywhere from 8 to 13 minutes, roughly. Some are longer, some are shorter, but roughly somewhere in there. And it's just because I want to get a message out there, and I want people to hear the reality of things. And that's why I call it Straight from the Chest, because everything that I speak on there with is very raw and unfiltered.
Yeah, I do the same thing if I don't have a guest, and I'm like you, average 2 a week. And I'll just, like you said, come in and I'll do 10, 15 minutes. I might just pick a subject, something that came up, something that's going on in the world, and say, here's my perspective. Here's how it ties into the different things I do. But I love that we now have a platform to say what we need to say, versus you go back many years, you had to be famous, or you had to be somebody that somebody platformed you. Now we can, do what we're doing now and just get our opinion out there. And it's our opinion. Let's switch off business. Let's talk personal. Are you a family man? Do you have children?
Yeah, one day, hopefully, man.
Okay. How old are you, by the way, man?
That's the goal. I have a really good woman right now, and she's just supports me to the end. She obviously believes in everything that I'm doing. She actually works for me as well. So, I mean, just a huge weight off my shoulders in a lot of regards. And, 2 is better than 1, man. And that's the thing that you come to notice when you have a good woman by your side, that she makes you a better man. Sure. And conversely, the same thing, when she has a good man, it makes her a better woman.
Yes,
a lot of women are failing to see good men in this world, and it's a lot of because what they're promoting and how they're promoting themselves on the internet. Men don't want that. Men don't want a promiscuous woman, and they don't get it. Men don't want a woman that talks back. Men don't want a woman that are not submissive. Men don't want women that have a mouth on them. Men don't want that. Like upstanding men, at least. And if you're that woman, you're going to attract exactly who you are. And so they realize, they wonder why they're with fuck boys. They wonder why the only person that'll fuck with them are guys just wanting to have sex.
Yeah.
And then they call the guy, they call the guy slanderous names because he's not stepping up to the plate. Well, that's who you're attracting, woman.
So you're saying energy out, energy in, basically. Yeah.
Yeah. If you want a certain type of man, and conversely, if I want a certain type of woman, I have to create myself into that man that is accepting of that type of woman, that is aligning with that type of woman. And a lot of women will say, well, I have to do what I have to do. Well, okay, that's fine. Do what you have to do. But here's the thing. Men don't come save men. Men come and save women. So you can be a damsel in distress. In fact, that's a phrase for a reason, right? Damsel in distress. Is there any phraseology that exists for a man in distress for him to come be saved? No, there's not.
Nowadays, I just don't know what it is.
Yeah. So the point is that men save women. So you can be a woman that's working at Burger King, making ends meet, just barely getting by, having a one bedroom apartment. If you're not promiscuous, you don't have a high body count, you're a very sound and I would say feminine and supportive woman, some guy is going to notice that. And obviously you got to be pretty. Some guy is going to notice that, and he's going to see all those traits you have, and he's going to swoop you up. You don't have to create yourself in anything. I mean, if you want to, okay, but to attract the man that you want, you don't need to be this high-ranking 6-figure a year earner. But see, men have to be. There's no woman that's worth her salt as a good woman that's going to go for a guy that's a lazy bum and doesn't do anything with his life, has no ambition, has no direction in life, doesn't work, doesn't have a strong work ethic, doesn't want more, doesn't want to provide, doesn't want to protect. Like, a woman is not gonna seek that out. And it's not because of modern times, it's because of biology. And biology wins. And that's the thing you have to understand. Like, biology for Clarence, biology for Justin, biology for my woman, biology for anyone, it wins every time. You can say to yourself, I'm not going to go with the narrative here. I'm going to go against it. It doesn't work that way. You seek refuge as a woman. You seek a man to provide and protect, because that's what you guys have done for a millennia, and that's what you'll continue to do. And men have been builders for a millennia. That's what's ingrained in our DNA to do, is be builders, be creators, and be providers and be protectors.
So what do you say to the woman who says, "Oh, I'm independent. I don't need a man. I can do my own thing"?
Yeah, that's great. You be independent, man, but don't be griping about the fact that you don't have a good man by your side. And the fact is, the exceptions to the rule do exist, but we don't make exceptions for the rule. That is just something that happens rarely in life, where you come into that person where they go against the whole rule here. They're the exception to the rule, I should say. But again, that doesn't make the rule. Just because it happened for somebody, that's not the general populace. That's not the majority of people. The majority of people, again, that's the polarity between the individuals. They're looking for those different things in that opposing gender.
Fascinating. All right. How many people do you have on your team? Is it just you and a woman, or do you have a bunch of trainers under you?
I have one woman. I have a couple males. Yeah.
Awesome. How long have you had the team together?
Probably a couple years. No, 3 years. I want to say probably ever since COVID.
And where are you located out of?
So I'm in the central coast of California, which is kind of smack dab in the middle of LA and San Francisco. It's called the Central Coast. Yeah.
Okay. That's a good market. Yeah. California is always a good market for training. All right. So we're going to get off the women thing.
I know. I'm sorry.
I see my inbox now. Who is that guy? No, I actually did a show where we had men and women, and they were going back and forth about stuff. I think social media has messed a lot of the realities of the male-female thing, because there's a lot of things that you see on social media that are just not real. And then people are living with this, it appears to be this amazing life, and in reality, it's not. So I tell people all the time, that's not real. Just if people say, I want to look like her, I go, no, you don't. And you don't know what she did to get to that look. And promise you, she's at you. They don't see this. They see the finish line. It's a certain way. Yeah. So anyway, talk to me a little bit about what you and the wife, I just say wife, if you have a woman, the wife do for downtime. When you say, look, I'm not thinking about work right now. I'm not thinking about clients. I just want to relax. What do you do? What do you like to do for fun?
Yeah, dude, we do it every night. We sit down and watch, series on Netflix, or we watch, we get into series like Ozark or Breaking Bad.
I wish they brought that back, but I mean, how many people can you kill?
Yeah, no,
everybody's gone.
Yeah, but we just recently watched Yellowstone.
So, Yellowstone, I seen every single episode.
Yeah,
through. Yeah, that's another good one. Like, let's go. I need to see.
Yeah. So that's it, man. I mean, we just chill on the couch and watch TV at the end of the night, and then do it all over again the next day. But that's our downtime, and then we have mainly one big cheat meal once a week where we go out, or she'll cook.
What's your go-to cheat meal? What's your favorite thing to splurge on?
Everything, bro. I like pizza, burgers. I like ice cream. I love ice cream. I love Reese's. That's my favorite candy. So I mean, and I'm a creature of habit, so I'll go back to the same food. So if we had like pizza the night or the last week, I might want pizza again and pizza again. You know what I mean? Or we'll do Mexican food, or sometimes I just want shit Taco Bell. So we'll go to Taco Bell. Let's get a whole bunch of
There's nothing wrong with that. Like I tell people, you can't give food power. It's just something you ate and move on.
Yeah.
So obviously, you do it all the time. It's contradictory to your goal. But if you're like, hey, my goal is to live life, then eat your pizza.
Yeah, exactly, bro. And again, for context, you can't do that all the time and expect to still have a good body. I mean, it definitely will start showing up, and that's what I don't want. So that's why I schedule it in my week. I only have it once a week, and then every other day is the protein shakes, the red meat, white rice, veggies, fruit. It's all the same.
So who are some people that inspire you? Who are some people that you go to when you need advice?
You know, to be honest with you, the only man that I've ever looked up to or admire and will is my father. So
That's very
that's
common, though.
it.
You'd be surprised. I hear that quite a bit of guys I,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And I like to, you know, I'm not saying that there are a lot of people out there that don't have a wise word to spread. They definitely do. But I've never been a type of person, or at least a man, to go to another man for advice. And I don't know, I can't exactly give you an answer behind that. I don't know if it's an ego thing, a prideful thing, very well could be, but I'm very much jointed at the hip with that idea that there's no man other than my father out there for the world for me to look up to or admire. I mean, other than the principles that God set in place and for me to live off of, which I definitely don't adhere to. I mean, obviously, I'm very flawed, but that's it, man. God and my dad. So,
Any brothers, sisters?
yeah, nope.
Why is he the only child? Okay.
Yeah, man. I always get shit when people find that out.
Talk to me about bulletproofing your mind. I like that when I read that in your bio. What does that mean?
Well, that only happens when you do hard shit, when you do challenging shit, right? I mean, you'll never really understand what that looks like or what that even means if you don't do things that you're willing to do on your own accord and you impose on your own. You know, so the biggest, or I should say the lowest hanging fruit that people can grab that is going to show them what they're made of physically and mentally, and more so mentally, is a workout regimen, following a workout regimen, and not just following it like getting the reps done, but actually trying and progressing in that plan and making the most out of it, and really just wringing dry everything they can out of each workout. You know, and that's something that really shows you if you have, I mean, at the lowest level, any ability to be tenacious towards a goal or have discipline. And the sad thing is a lot of people can't even do that. But I think that the only way that you really figure out what you're capable of is if you do something that's akin to that workout, like following a workout program, and not just doing the reps, but actually trying to progress. So putting a measurable goal in the forefront that you can attain and reaching it, and then setting a new goal and reaching that, and then setting another goal and reaching that. It's either that or it's go off to the military, you know, or go try to be a Navy SEAL. I mean, this is like this. These are the ways that you figure out what your mind can do and what you're capable of doing. So the lowest hanging fruit that everybody could grab is going to the fucking gym and doing a workout program and progressing in that workout program and setting goals, physical transformation goals for them to achieve.
I love that. Love that. So another question I like to ask is, because people will say, what's the best diet? And we all know from training and coaching people, there is no best diet. But do you think ultimately there is a diet that is perfect for just a certain person? Or do you think that the sound nutrition?
I think that a lot of people, so obviously you said it, there is no perfect diet. The perfect diet is one that you can adhere to. And I sound like one of those Instagram platitudes, but it is. It's a diet that you can adhere to every single day, and it doesn't feel like a diet. So, and we would call that a lifestyle or way of eating, right? It's not really a diet, it's just a way of eating. Something that has your calories in check, something that keeps your protein needs met to recover you from workouts and keep growing muscle if you're obviously working out and training. So I would say, just to give you an answer, I would say, and I don't necessarily stand by this 100%, but I would say if I was to give any answer, I would say intermittent fasting is something that most people can do. And most people can benefit from intermittent fasting, and especially, or the carnivore diet. So those two, I think some variation of intermittent fasting where you do, let's say a 16-8, where you fast for 16 hours and then you eat for, a couple of meals in the span of 8 hours and get all your calorie needs met in those 8 hours, protein included. Or you do something like a 20 and a 4, where you fast 20 hours and you eat for 4. Now, there's some context behind fasting. A lot of people will think fasting means no food. And yes, it does. Obviously, technically, fasting means no food, no calories. But if you were to, let's say, fast on, like what I do is, for example, is when I wake up in the morning, I have protein drinks in the morning. And then I train, I have protein after I train. And then at nighttime, I eat my big meal, which is red meat, rice, and veggies. And I have some fruit as well before I go to bed. Calorically, I'm staying within the realm of 23 to 2,500 calories a day, which is pretty aggressive for me, being 200 pounds, 5'11", and constantly training. So, and hard training at that. But most people can adopt that way of living, because if you think about it, a lot of the Western world fasts unintentionally. They fast with coffee in the morning, and they generally, if they're working throughout the day, all they do is drink coffee or diet Cokes and things like that to keep their energy up. But then they go home and they have a plethora of shit food, right? So if you were to just rein that back and have better foods, and then have protein drinks throughout the day to stave off your hunger, keep you satiated, and for those bodybuilding nut jobs out there, keep yourself anabolic, throughout the day. I mean, you're going to have a pretty fair game at losing body fat, keeping muscle in your frame, and you're not thinking about meal prepping. You're not thinking about, I got to take 15 minutes to go eat this Tupperware in my car real quick. It's like, it's very easy to intermittent fast for most people in their lifestyle.
Yeah.
And then the carnivore diet. Carnivore is, it's an elimination diet to some degree, So you're just eating red meat, and let's take it to the extreme: red meat, salt, and water, But you can eat endless amounts of red meat if you want. There is no, people that follow the carnivore diet, they don't really have a cap on the meat that they're not measuring out meat. They're just eating meat. They're just eating it throughout the day. And people have been very, very successful at not only getting biomarkers within check, and also losing a plethora of weight on that. So I think just to give you a couple of answers, I would say intermittent fasting at some level, some iteration of intermittent fasting, and maybe a quasi intermittent fast, or not quasi, a pseudo intermittent fast, for some people, like breaking some of the rules by drinking some protein throughout the day and until they get to their meal. And then something like carnivore diet. It really helps with a lot of people. It helps satiate them. It helps them to curb cravings, and they're not yearning for that donut or anything like that. And that keeps them within check,
Yeah. Fascinating. So, any more bodybuilding, or are you done with that?
Dude, I'm done with that, man. I think I did like 9 shows, man. And that to me is like the only way that I would have been able to get higher up in the rankings with bodybuilding is if I took drugs. There was no way around it. For me to get to that next level was like, I got to take drugs, because the guys that would just come in the shows were just, massive, dude. And also, apart from that, I'd ran that race so many times that I just was done with it.
Yeah.
And I did 9 shows in the span of 2.5 years.
Wow.
So a lot of people, they do like a show a year or 2 shows at best. Like, I did 6 shows my first season, back to back, boom, 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 like one every month for 6 months. And then I did 3 the next year. And then I did 1 the next year. So 10, I think. And it was just, I got it out of my system, I guess I could just say. It just was, I'm done with it, man. Like I had no aspirations of becoming a pro. I didn't care. I wanted to do it because I wanted to see what I was made of. I wanted to see how I compared to other people. And it gave me a strong goal to look forward to for those years that I was competing. And that was in part what developed my mindset, my behaviors, my habits that I take into training nowadays, and I take into my business life nowadays. It's all very tethered.
Yes, I agree. When I coach business guys, I tell them a lot of the fitness principles are a lot of business principles, same disciplines, you know, got to know your numbers, got to know how many calls you got to make, got to know how many times you're in the gym, what you're putting in your mouth. So it's very similar. A lot of times it's easy to resonate with business people. So what are your future goals? What are your future plans? Got the app, you got the podcast, anything else, or is that keeping you busy for the time being?
Just keep going with this, generating more awareness over what we're doing or what I'm doing with the app, and what or rather my team, myself, my woman, our team behind the app as well. And until the next venture comes up, tackle that, you know, but keep refining the things that we have turning right now.
Gotcha. All right, so you got to say your woman's name, because she'll be forever known as the woman. What's her name?
I'll give you her first name. Her first name's Katie.
Katie. All right, that's cool. All right, man. Josh. I'm sorry, Josh. Justin, where can people find you if they want to check out your services and get a hold of you, maybe get some coaching from you?
Yeah, so our app is on the Apple and Android store. It's called Elite Mind and Fitness. If you type in Elite Mind plus Fitness, it'll show up. So Elite Mind and Fitness on the Apple and Android store. If you'd like to get in contact with me personally, you can go to my Instagram, DM me at Justin Craig Groth, and that's just straight Justin Craig Groth. There's no underscores or spaces.
Cray is Cray.
Say that again.
Is the middle name Cray?
Craig.
Craig. Okay. Got it. All right. And then in the Elite Mind, because I'm gonna put this in our show notes, is the and spelled out, or is it the and symbol?
It's the plus symbol.
Plus symbol. Okay. Cool. Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, I appreciate you coming on and sharing some thoughts with me, and just your journey, which is always good to hear other people's journey. And we wish you all the best with your app. And I definitely think the listeners will get something out of this. So I definitely appreciate you being on.
Thanks, Coach. I appreciate it, bud.